Good morning. Morning to you. Good morning.
Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
Right. Okay. Okay. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Can you all see this? Yeah. Good. Good. Yeah. Okay. That's it. Today we're going to discuss the cooperative recording. Yeah. Today we're going to discuss the cooperative principle. Now, what do you mean by cooperative principle? It means that the speaker and the listener should fully cooperate. They should cooperate fully as they communicate. What do I mean by full cooperation? Before we start this, let's just read this story. Yeah, it's between a man and a woman, and see how not being fully cooperative causes misunderstanding. Now, in conversation, there are certain maxims to be followed. If any of them is violated, this will cause misunderstanding and misinterpretation. Yeah. So there is a woman sitting on a park bench. This is the context. Yeah? There is a woman sitting on a park bench. So the context is a park. And a large dog lying on the ground in front of the bench. So we have a man, a woman, and a dog. Yeah. A man comes along and sits down on the bench. Here is the sort of conversation of dialogue that took place between the man and the woman. So the man asks, "Does your dog bite?" Woman, "No." The man reaches down to pet the dog. The dog bites the man's hand. Is that logical? Is that
No,
an
she
expected
lied to
result?
him.
Yeah. Do you think that that's an expected result? Now the man asks, "Does your dog bite?" And the woman says, "No."
She lied
The
to
man
him.
reaches down to pet the dog. The dog bites the man's hand. Why do you think that happened?
Maybe because the man he is stranger for the dog.
Ah, right. Okay. Right. Now, here, the woman gave less information. She violated the quantity needed to have full cooperation. So, does your dog bite? No. The man reaches down to pet the dog. The dog bites the man's hand. Unexpectedly, of course. Man, ouch, hey. You said your dog doesn't bite. Woman, he doesn't, but that's not my dog. Do you think the woman was cooperative in this context?
No.
No, she wasn't. She wasn't. Now, not having full cooperation is very much misleading, is often very much misleading, and it can easily cause misunderstanding. So here we have an instance of giving less information. Um, okay. So less information than expected. So The result was that the dog unexpectedly caused
I see.
harm to the man's hand. Now, in order to have full cooperation, we need to have or adhere to the four cooperative principle maxims. There are four maxims that need to be observed either in conversation, in verbal communication, or written communication. What are these four? One is quantity. Quantity. The amount of information given. Two is quality. Quality, the quality of information. Three is relation or relevance. Relevance. That's to say, whatever information given or provided should be relevant to the topic. Yeah. Four is the manner. You have to avoid ambiguity, for instance. Try to be as brief as possible. Be orderly. Express yourself logically, in a logical sequence. Now, this applies, as I said, this applies both to verbal communication and written communication. Now, let's reflect on the definition of each one of these four maxims, and let's see how they are applied and whether in our culture, whether we adhere to them or not. Okay. Now, what do you mean by quantity? Quantity means make your contribution as informative as is required. Make it as informative as is required. In other words, give no less nor more. Give what is required. Give informative contribution. Make informative contribution as much as you can. That's number one. Quantity. Some people, are simply chatterboxes. They are chatterboxes. They keep talking non-stop. The problem is that they give quantity. They give more than is required. The result is that the communication fails. Some people are very talkative, chatterboxes or talkative. They write a lot. In some cultures, like the English culture, they care for word count. See what I mean? Word count. So, for instance, in writing an article or a paper, the paper should not exceed a certain number of words, not pages. There is a summary and an abstract. When you write a thesis, let's say, an MA or a PhD thesis, yeah, MA thesis, result magister, or a PhD thesis, or a paper. So in case of MA theses, the number of words should not exceed 15,000 words. 15,000 words, not pages. In writing an abstract, we have the paper has an abstract, must have an abstract. Abstract, you know what that means? An abstract. An abstract. That's we call it مستخلص الرسالة أو مستخلص البحث. You know how many words? I mean, that should be. It shouldn't exceed 100 to 150 words. So it's sometimes less than a page, and you have to stick to that. Otherwise, you'll be wasting other people's time. So give, be brief, be as brief as possible. Don't think that by giving more information, this will be appreciated. Now, if you happen to be interviewed by, say, the BBC, Monte Carlo, or any channel, prominent channel, of course, yeah, sometimes you only have 5 minutes, 4 minutes to get your message across. No more, no less. Just 5 minutes sometimes. In order to interview some prominent figure for 5 minutes, you need to prepare for 10 hours sometimes, because you have to read all about the subject. You have to collect data. So when we talk or write something, what do we do first? What should be done first when regarding quantity? Suppose that I asked you, or somebody asked you to write something on globalization. Yeah, globalization. Let's say, write an essay on globalization. What steps do you usually follow? What do you do first? Yeah. What do you do first in order to write something? Osama, would you like to? Sorry. There's something wrong with the voice today. I don't know why. Can you speak up, please? No, I mean, what is the first step? I mean, before you start writing, what is the first step followed? About what you are going to talk about. Yeah, okay. So what do you do first?
Read more details about the topic.
Okay, you need yeah, okay. In other words, first we need to collect data. Yeah, we collect data. See what I mean? We need to collect information. We need to collect information. So we can't talk without having a certain amount of information. So we need to collect data, collect information. That's the first step. And of course, when we collect data, the data is plural. The data have to be characterized. It should be, we should get data that contains facts and figures. Facts and figures. You see what I mean? Okay, now it's better. So we need to collect data that is scientifically based. It has to be reliable data from reliable sources. It should have facts and figures, statistics sometimes. Statistics give a lot of information, and they give your writing, your essay, credibility. See what I mean? So, quantity, make your contribution as informative as is required. 2, don't make your contribution more informative than is required, because that would be a disadvantage. So it's not an advantage. Now, most in our culture, most people pride themselves on, say, writing a 3-volume book, thinking that that if they do so, they have achieved the purpose, attained their goals. Now, this is not, unfortunately, I mean, this is not the case. Quality. This is very important. What do you mean by quality? How do you produce a quality dialogue or interview, a quality piece? Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's. I mean, there are again. Try to make your contribution one that is true. 2, don't say what you believe to be false. 3, don't say that for which you lack adequate evidence. Now, if you try to make your contribution false and say what you believe not to be true, or have no adequate evidence, what would be the result? What would be the result of that? The information is redundant, is unnecessary. Yeah. So it would in no way attract the reader's attention or the listener's attention, because it lacks quality. So don't say what you believe to be false. In other words, don't tell lies. Don't tell lies. This is what happens sometimes in propaganda and mass media. If they are biased or prejudiced, they try to give false information. Yeah. Don't say that for which you lack adequate evidence. If there is no evidence, what do you call the if there is if a piece of information is provided without having enough or adequate evidence, what do you call that? Okay, stuffing is one thing, yes. Or rumor, rumor, RUMOUR, rumor, rumors. Some people, are in the habit of spreading rumors. You see what I mean? Yeah, rumors. RUMOURS. rumors يعني إشاعات. Now, how would you define إشاعة? Look it up. Look it up in dictionary. See the word. Look up the word rumors in the dictionary, and say, no, okay, spreading lies, telling lies, telling lies. First, because the information provided is not true. Two, because it lacks evidence. It lacks evidence. So this means that it's not a quality work. It's not a quality work. It lacks evidence. It lacks facts. Yeah. Now, sometimes when you are when we say in Arabic, for instance, sometimes we say هذا كلام إنشاء. Yeah, what does that mean? كلام إنشاء يعني. Yeah, in our culture, for instance, we keep saying this is كلام إنشاء. أو ده هذا إنشاء. What does that signify? Yeah. Now, in schools, whenever a pupil is asked to write an essay or to write something, does he follow any steps? Does he or she follow any steps? Are they taught the techniques of writing? No, I mean, I'm asking, do we actually teach students the techniques of writing? Yeah, as you were, as you were asked to write something, write موضوع إنشاء, yeah, composition, yeah. Were you trained how to organize the writing, the steps that you need to follow? No, I'm not talking about university now. I'm talking about schools, pre-university, before the university study. Yeah. And في المدارس يعني what steps did you follow? Can you name some of them? Okay. Okay.
The title.
Okay. Okay. What do you call the did you say المقدمة? Yeah, what is that?
Introduction.
Introduction, yeah. Not a topic sentence.
The topic sentence.
Yeah, we need to have a topic sentence. Okay. Now once you select the topic, what's the next step?
Support sentence.
Sorry?
Support sentence.
No, I mean
Oh, support paragraph.
before starting to write. Suppose that you were given a certain topic to write on. Yeah.
First,
So what would be the next step? So we have to collect data. How often do Arab learners of English, or even in Arabic, I mean, as native speakers, how often do they collect data? Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. So that's lack of information. Lack of information, lack of adequate evidence. That's why they say kalam insha. That means it's not worth reading. It's not worth reading. Yeah, that's what it means. And sometimes we say kalam jaraid. Yes, I don't know why they use this statement. Well, I think we do have trustworthy newspapers, reliable newspapers. Yeah. So I think once the topic is chosen or selected, the next step would be to collect data. Nowadays it's easy. I mean, you can Google any topic. So get adequate information. Use a certain amount of information required, as is required, quantity. Make sure that your contribution is true and that you write what you believe not to be false. 3, give enough evidence. Give enough evidence. Evidence here means facts and figures. Facts and figures. This applies. It applies in all contexts, whether it's verbal, whether we have verbal communication or written communication. Try to observe these two maxims: quantity and quality. Then make sure that whatever information is provided relates to the topic. So it shouldn't be irrelevant. See what I mean?
yes.
It shouldn't be irrelevant. We'll have next time. We'll have some exercises. Now, in one of the characteristic features of accurate information in terms of quantity, quality, and relevance, that it should all be relevant to the topic. So if you are talking about a certain topic, don't interpolate, don't insert information that don't relate to the topic, because they would be redundant. they would distract the reader's attention or the listener's attention. Provide only information relevant to the topic. Yeah. Then we have manner, the manner we talk, the manner we write, the way we write. So we should avoid ambiguity, obscurity. We should avoid unnecessary prolixity. We don't elaborate. We don't need to say more or write more about something and make the reader or the listener feel that that sort of information is unnecessary. 4, be orderly. Be orderly. You should follow a logical sequence. Now, in English, they go straight to the point. In some cultures, they do it this way. They keep going about the same idea and repeating themselves. In some cultures, they go zigzag. Yeah. In English, they go straight to the point because time is important. In some cultures, there is no concept of time. So they go on talking, they go on writing without taking into account the concept of time because they think that time is not important. In English, they say time is money. Yeah, they say time is money. In some cultures, like the Arab culture, again, time is precious, is invaluable. Time is invaluable, but some people never adhere to that. So when they have an appointment, they don't mind coming 20, 40 minutes late. You see what I mean? Without having an excuse. And sometimes they bring lame excuses. You know what that means? Yeah, lame. We say lame excuses. What does that mean? What's the equivalent, the Arabic equivalent of lame? Lame, L-A-M-A-E. Lame excuses. Yeah, sorry.